Hello everyone, welcome to Sister Coded. This is our second episode. I am your co-host Rangoli.
I'm Saloni.
Today we're going to discuss
The hospitality industry. How fun!
So I think we plan to deep dive into certain topics.
Yeah, a lot of different aspects of the hospitality industry and why it is such an exciting industry for anyone to get into.
To watch and get into. Then once you're neck deep into it, I don't know how exciting it is after that.
Yeah, because to an outsider, I think it's a glamorous and exciting industry. It's food, it's people, it's big,
It's light,
it's out there.
it's busy at all times.
Yeah.
But I think we'll discuss certain things that will tell you that there is a dark side to the industry as well. Not really dark, but it's a very challenging industry. It's not as glamorous and pretty as it looks. It takes up a lot of time, energy, money, and a lot of mental. It's a big mental game as well. So I think we'll touch on these topics.
Yeah, especially since you're an insider.
And you're the outsider.
Yeah, I'm an outsider. You've been working in the industry. You know
Yeah.
everything that goes on behind the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And for me, as someone who's an outsider, for me this is exciting. I get to come, sit, eat, chill, leave, come back and do the same thing. But you have to figure how the other person's getting to chill. So
yeah.
let's get into the meat of the discussion.
Yes. So we can do it in such a way that you can ask me a few questions and
Yeah.
I can go back and forth and probably answer whatever, how it goes and how to get into the industry, what are the basic challenges that we face, if you want to set up the industry, what the processes are around it.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is again a disclaimer. I've just been around for like eight and a half years in the industry. I have a brief idea of how it works. And this is through my experience. It's a different experience for everyone. But I think some shit remains the same, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Some stuff remains the same. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I think the first thing we should address is ease of entry. So you know how when we're talking about ease of entry, how easy it is for an outsider to enter this market and what are certain barriers to entry that one may come across, be it regulatory or cost-wise or competitor-wise even. So let's start and pick up the regulations and permits first.
So I think there's a lot of, it's not as easy as it seems. Once you always imagine even when you go to Bombay Carter Road, there's new restaurants, cafes, things opening up every
All the time.
couple of months.
Yeah.
You go on our own Nasik's College Road, there's new cafes, restaurants, everything opening every couple of months.
And shutting down.
And shutting down, which is important as well. I think a lot of times people don't realize that the business is extremely demanding of your physical presence. It's a full-fledged end-to-end service industry, which means you need to constantly be present.
Yeah.
When we see like a vada pav thela, or when we see a pani puri wala thela, it's very different because a lot of times it's in India especially, there's a lot of permits and regulations that they've not done and gotten into. Atikraman is a word that's usually used as well. There's a lot of cafes, restaurants that open in places that they're not supposed to. So if you want to go up, you should go about it legally. And if you follow the steps, there's a lot of things that are required. So before we get into the industry, the certain requirements are getting your shop act in place.
Right.
A shop act in place. Then the second thing would be to get your permissions with the building, to get the NMC completion. So when you have a building designed for if you're making a hotel or if you're making something like a small restaurant, there's an architectural design that needs to be sanctioned through the NMC. So it needs to go there, it needs to be approved, it needs to go ahead, and once we get the green signal is when you start working. That's when the construction begins. Because without the completion and the stamp from the NMC, you cannot start. it'll be Atikraman there and you'll be blown apart. But this entire process itself, which is like the first step itself, takes up a lot.
Yeah,
Once
the
then
government will come and break down your property.
that'll be tragic. Apart from that, what is required is our company registration, which is across all businesses. We need to get our registration done, our
And
GST
an Aadhaar
registration.
card for your hotel.
Yeah, then the Udyam Aadhaar
Yeah.
for the property, the company that you've started, PAN, TIN. These are the few documents that are required then. In order to run the show, we need a few licenses as well. We need the food and drug license. We need pollution control license if it's a hotel where the waste is going, especially in a hotel. We need an NOC from the police for parking. Every restaurant, hotel it's required and it's a mandate to have a parking. A lot of people don't have it, even in our city, even in Bombay, and that's actually not allowed. So that needs to be in place.
Yeah.
And then you have licenses. You have a liquor license, which is very difficult to get also, and it's extremely expensive because Maharashtra, we pay a large amount of taxes. Our liquor rates are also higher compared to a lot of other states. It's
Is it easy to get a liquor license, or it's something that you can get? Is it easy, expensive?
It's expensive. It's extremely expensive. The liquor license that I had been paying until last year was roughly 7 lakh rupees, which has gone up again this year. It's an annual fee. To acquire the license for the first time is also a fee plus the liquor license. So it's actually quite expensive. So when you keep in mind everything that you need to pay for, the legalities, it's not so easy to enter, because even if these licenses seem like, okay, I just named like 10 licenses that you need before, when you start, then there's
Food.
Then there's also the PF ESIC, because I have a team of 100 people working for me, so everyone needs to be registered. There's a lot of documentation issues. If you don't have PF ESIC as a government norm, it's compulsory. If you don't have it for your staff, it is also illegal, and you can really get screwed for that as well. So keeping in mind that all the things are required, it may seem like it's a checklist or a to-do list that you just take, okay, I got my completion from NMC, now I got my pollution control NOC as well, I got my police NOC. It's not that simple. Everyone's always taking their own sweet time to give you the licenses, to give you the completion, to get it sanctioned, and all of the entire process takes up a lot of money, a lot of patience, and if you want to start at a certain time, it usually goes astray and it's very difficult. So these are the legalities that are required to start any business, any hotel, restaurant, cafe.
But most of all, money. Where does the money come from? Like, it's an expensive affair. I mean, think about it. It's a building, it's so many people. So when you're talking about setting up a hotel to begin with, like, how much capital do you require? How much working capital do you need to then keep the show running? And even when you're talking about where the money is coming from, like, is it easy to get a loan from a bank, or do you have investors in the picture who come and loan you the money? Do they take a percentage? How does that work?
So, not gonna lie, it's really, really expensive to set up something like this, depending on the category of property that you're opening. If you're opening a high-end restaurant, a cafe, or like a 3-star category hotel that we're sitting in right now, the cost obviously is extremely high. It's not easy to get a loan from the bank in general. It depends all on your history. For any business that you start, you need to have a collateral for it, and there's a lot of stuff there. If you have an investor on board, if you're borrowing some money, that works. But that is also, it's capital intensive to start something like a hotel. If you have a lot of money sitting around, then you can do it. It's upwards of 15 CR when it comes to opening a hotel with rooms, banquet, restaurant, upwards of. So that's just a very low figure that I'm giving you. Working capital is also really expensive because you have staff salaries to cover for a property like ours, where we have roughly a team of 130. It goes approximately up to 18 to 20 lakhs, and that's for my hotel. But a hotel like a Courtyard Marriott, Courtyard by Marriott would be even higher if they have they require more staff because of their SOPs. That's the basic minimum requirement that they have. Their salary structure is a lot higher as well, so their senior staff is paid a lot more. Their head chef is paid a lot more than my head chef at SSK maybe. You know, these are just the differences in their salaries, but that is also very demanding. Then there is, apart from that GST, we pay a monthly GST which goes on the 20th, so that also eats out of your working capital. Because initially it was quarterly, it used to be like 6 months, annual 6 months, but now that it's a monthly affair, we end up paying a lot of GST, and that immediately puts a dent.
Correct.
Then we have electricity, which is really high for our industry because you need lights and ACs on at all times. Even if there's one customer sitting in your restaurant, even if there is one person sitting in your lobby, that's continuously on. Then we have our regular repair and maintenance because it's a hospitality industry. After first 5 or 6 years of operations, your repairs and maintenance starts. You have very high equipment. We have a massive stabilizer. We have generators. We have a walk-in chiller, which is really huge as well. We have so many refrigerators, the display fridges, all of them conk off. Sometimes something conks off. It's really tragic because in our country, which is a $5 trillion economy that we are in, we have a lot of basic issues with the electricity. There is no supply that is consistent. So we invest, so we pay an electricity bill. I'm going to complain a little. We pay an electricity bill, which is huge. We pay for a stabilizer because the supply of the electricity that comes in is not good. I pay for a generator, which is because even though there is electricity and I pay a lot of money for the electricity, it's not always present. There are days in a 2-tier city like ours in Nasik, Saturdays we face a lot of electricity shortage and it cuts off, and so I get the generator. The generator needs diesel to run, so that's an added cost as well. Water is also a big problem. For Nasik, we're blessed because we have the most amount of water and we supply water to a lot of our neighboring cities. But even then, in summers, we end up buying water from the tank. So no matter how much we end up buying water from the NMC, no matter how much money you pay in water tax, property tax, electricity duty, which we pay on the electricity bills, we don't get enough of it. Like, we don't get enough from it, you know. So as an industry, there are a lot of these nitty-gritties that you don't recognize when you get into. But this is a real kick in the nuts when you start the operations and you reach a bit of a down in your business. So that obviously takes a toll. Is when it comes to probably entry into the hospitality industry.
What about like competition? I mean, there's so many restaurants, so many hotels that open and shut, like you said. Is that something that kind of holds someone back from entering in the industry? Does that really affect the revenue when a new hotel comes in, etc.? Or because as a customer, if there's a new hotel opening, a new restaurant opening, I want to go try it out. I want to go see what the hype is about. But recurring customers, and if that is something that one should worry about?
So I think that is not specific to hospitality industry. I think all industries, it's which law is it? The 80-20 Pareto principle, which speaks about 20% of your customers bring 80% of your business. So that applies across all industries. Even for us, I think today SSK has made its mark or created a brand name for itself only because majority of our customers are repeat customers. It makes a huge difference. I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to tell you, like, it's true that a lot of people in the city still aren't aware of our hotels, still don't know something like SSK exists, but it is through word of mouth, which is actually really important in our industry. reviews, feedbacks, complaints take a big hit. Customers can be assholes and that also affects the business. Everyone usually, like any owner, gets into the business obviously not hoping that it doesn't do well, but because there's so many factors and it's so heavily dependent on people.
Right.
Our industry is dependent on customers to bring in the money.
But front and back, I guess. I mean, the customer and also like so much staff, everything.
The
Come
staff.
what may, like you have your systems and your softwares, but it is a very people-driven business also.
Which is what makes it difficult, because someone in my position who's handling all three sides, suppose I'm handling a customer also, I'm handling my team also, I'm handling my vendors also, we're really, really important. If I run out of milk and my cafe is doing its record sale, I need to be able to have a relationship with my vendor where I call him or her up and I'm like, please send across 10 liters of milk. I need it. It's my weekend, it's going to get busy. On a holiday, I need this, I need this. And that same vendor will be useful and helpful to me when I can request them to supply me with the material I need and maybe make a payment a week later.
Right.
So even the creditors that we have, to have that relationship, it is across all. Have my team when it's a busy day, when we have 2 functions, we have a full-blown restaurant running, I need to make sure my kitchen team is on its toes and it's doing it for me. It's not going to be like it's 11:30 p.m. I'm out. That's not how it works. You need to make sure that your team is happy. They are working for themselves and they're working for us. They're working because they're happy.
Yeah.
It is so people driven. You need to have faith that your customers who come in and who usually 7 out of 10 times have a good time, 3 times when they don't really have a good time, they will come back the 11th time. So all of these factors, it is so dependent on people. I really don't know what the attraction is towards this industry. It is so demanding of your time, your emotions, your mental bandwidth, everything. It's just like it squeezes you dry. But I love it.
Where does the money come from? Is it the restaurant? Is it your rooms? What is the most expensive to construct and what makes you the most money?
So to get right into it, I think most money, the highest cost to make is the rooms.
Okay.
And the lowest cost on return on investment, highest return on investment is rooms.
Oh.
The most expensive would be the least expensive would probably be, no, there's no least expensive. Everything is pretty moderately expensive.
Yeah.
Our costs are higher in the restaurant. My food cost is the highest in the restaurant because we make it portion wise. The biggest margins we probably will have, this is an insider, okay guys, the biggest margins we do have is our cafe and our banquets, because we make the production of the food is at a larger level. And that's the rough idea. So the money in this industry, so if you take a loan, if you have the gestation period is really large.
Okay.
If you make a hotel, I'm going to speak for hotels because I have not run any restaurants and I'm not really sure about how that works. But if I make a hotel like what we have, it takes us at least 10 years to reach. That's if we survive the 10 years, because there will be times when we won't make it. Like there will be a busy month. We had 2 years of COVID that hit us as well, and hospitality industry across the country, across the world had faced a big hit during that time. Our industry employs a large number of people. We have, if you notice, our kitchen is so diverse. We have people coming in from not only India, we have a lot of people coming in from Nepal, Northeast. We have people coming in from Odisha. We have people coming in from MP, UP, Rajasthan, down south. I mean, if you see the diversity that this industry employs, it's remarkable. But of course, when it comes to the first ones to get hit, I think we are in the line of hit when it comes down to it. But I think I'd also like to give that if you there's 2 types to enter, put a foot in the door if you want to get into in the hospitality, get a taste of it. You can obviously do franchising. There's 2 models. You start with an independent way, or you do franchising.
what is better? Like, if tomorrow I want to start a hotel, is it better for me to just come in and have my own standalone property, or is it better for me to go and, you know, bring a Marriott or a Radisson Blu to the city? Because what happens with hotels like these is the management is still run by the Marriott chain, or it's still a Marriott management or Radisson management, etc. So those systems are set. So is that better? Because
it all depends on your bank balance, babe. If you're making a hotel and getting in a Marriott, you need to put in a lot more money than we put for this independent hotel that we put right now.
Right.
But apart from that, I think if you want to get at an entry level, which would probably, hotel would be really, really expensive. It would require a very large capital. If you're going to go for a cafe or like a smaller unit, maybe franchising is something that someone can try to get the taste of the industry.
But how does that work? Like now, tomorrow, even if I want to go in for a franchising model, because it'll be easier for me, whether it's a restaurant or a hotel, do I have to come in with the entire construction cost and pay them a franchising fee? And then when we start making profits, is there a percentage that goes to them? Do I get to keep all the profit? Or even
that's it. That's how it is. You pay for the place, you make it.
Right.
You pay for the ingredients you buy from them. You pay for everything.
And then what if, see, of course, you're not going to break even tomorrow. So till you break even and you start making profits, what happens? Are you the one incurring the losses also?
So when you go for a franchise model, you go for an established brand.
Okay.
So the brand is established and the name is in the market. You don't have to start from scratch.
Fair.
If you get a Starbucks in the city, no one's going to be like, oh, what is Starbucks?
Yeah.
So you come in understanding that when you enter a market, you're going to acquire a certain set. Exactly. So obviously the money you make off of it, it's from day one, because you have sales from day one, assuming that it's located correctly, because there's a lot of guideline you get from a brand who's also franchising out their thing, like their brand to you. They will tell you what location works. They will give you data on what kind of customer base they have. They will have an existing market research done for the place they're entering. What you will be for them is a medium.
Right.
And how you make money is by being the medium. So you will start making money from the sale that happens. You'll probably get a buffer period to, where the fees waived off for a few months. It's very dependent on different franchisees, how they do it. But
when you go to sell a franchising model, however, you will make a higher return on your investment because it's an established brand, or it's very situational and you can't say it diving into it?
I think it gives you a sense of guarantee that what I'm entering with is there is an SOP, so you don't have to start from scratch, how to build, how to create. The team comes and gets trained. So there's a lot of teething issues that get to an extent taken care of.
Fair.
Wherein when you come in with an independent cafe or an independent restaurant, there's a lot of figuring out to do on your own. And that's also another entire segment that we can get into, wherein if you start something on your own, what are the challenges you face there as well. But it's a lot more comfortable when there is somebody who is guiding you through the process. Obviously, there's multiple consultants even to start a restaurant and everything. There's consultants for everything. But
But since we've spoken so much about staff, I think one last thing to touch on with staff is retention, because staff is constantly leaving. I've seen you and Dad, like, y'all have had staff stay with you since 2014 when the hotel started, and touchwood, it's been great, some amazing people, but you've also had people leave you. So is it easy to find someone new, train them, get them going again? Do people stick around for long? How does that work?
So, according to a statistic I read, hospitality industry, hotel industry, restaurant industry has the highest Attrition.
I wanted to say attrition, not
Yeah.
retention. I don't know why I said
Retention is also correct only.
Yeah,
How much
fair.
we can retain, but
yeah, but I wanted to actually say attrition.
so we have a very
But,
high attrition rate, which
Yeah.
means that a lot
They
of
leave a
times
lot.
they leave a lot. It's very common.
Yeah.
So there has been a situation where I think Dad, when we launched the hotel in 2014, we'd hired a general manager and their team, and Dad didn't have any, he hadn't studied this. It was a business that he started without probably knowing the technicalities behind it maybe back then. So I remember it was after salary. It was 6 months in.
Yeah.
No idea. Like there was so many SOPs that weren't in place, and our general manager left overnight with a few teammates. So it was just you wake up one morning and you come back and this general manager who's basically running the show is missing. So it's obviously dhakkadayak.
Yeah.
It's stressful and it takes you just wonder like how do I go about it. You can't shut a hotel, shutter nahi down kar sakte because someone's left.
Correct.
There have been cases where it's tragic, but a lot of I've heard stories where the restaurant team, the entire kitchen leaves because they didn't get along with the owner overnight. So our costs don't stop.
Yeah.
The bills are going to keep coming. But because it's so dependent on people, they just go. Now it's a lot easier because I think even until 10 years ago, to tap into a network with the industry people was harder. With Nasik getting newer additions of hotels, it's easier. There's more acceptability of people working in this industry who educate themselves and come in IHM and everything. That's grown wider. That's more acceptable now.
Yeah.
Because there has been a time where it's frowned upon if you're working in the hospitality industry, tu waiter ka kaam karega kya, and all of those things, it's changed a lot. Now we have so many brilliant running the show.
What about men and women? Like, what's your male to female ratio like?
It's poor. It's working in this industry. I think there's a lot of different ratios. We have people coming in from all stratas. We have an extremely educated person. Also, we employ people who are probably not have had a formal education up until 7th or 8th grade because of life and circumstances. So we have a variety of the diversity in the kind of people also that we hire. The tricky thing is I'm going to do the male female as well, but I'll also discuss the skilled and the unskilled labor within our kitchen department or any other department also. So what happens is with skilled, there is a lot of skill required to work in the kitchen. But there's two types of people that come in. When we started the hotel, our head chef had not done any formal education in hotel industry or as a chef. He was a chef with pure instinct and skill.
Yes, I remember.
He was great. His food was great, but it's not a sensible thing when you're running an operation this large.
Yeah.
Because there are costs to, look out for. There are things you need to take care of. Food cost, closing, opening, data, stock, everything.
Yeah.
Then we hired someone who has done IHM, who studied from the Indian Hospitality. It's like a management school, which is like IIT, but for hotel industry. Yeah. So we'd hired someone from there, young girl. She's been with us for many years, 6 years. Preeti, she'd worked with us, and so that's when we hired someone with a formal education.
Right.
Made a lot of difference because her skill set was not only in the kitchen, but it also focused on getting a lot of other things streamlined. Systems in place. So in even till today, there is in the kitchen department there's a big gap between the skilled, educated versus skilled and probably not had a formal education in this department. They all come in, they're all bloody talented, but they have to work together. They don't sometimes, and there is kalesh, but it happens, and it's it works. It doesn't work, it works. Male-female ratio, it's super tricky. I think when I joined, I was the only woman in the hotel. But obviously I changed. I had a female head chef. Then there was a time when all my HODs were women, and it was
I was just
insane.
going to say that.
But it's ever changing because our attrition rate is so high. And
But it's so interesting, like, because you have to put so much faith into your staff and the people working for you, because they're literally running the show. Yes, you bring them on, you guide them, you tell them what to do, but at the end of the day, it's not in your hands. Like, you have this entire establishment being run by 100 people, and you can't really do anything about it. Tomorrow you have a customer come in, sit down, order a plate of pasta. It's not in your hands how what is going to be served to them and how it's going to be served to them. Like,
you can have a lot of
it's
SOPs
amazing,
in place wherein you print out and give them, like this much milk, oil, pasta goes into this, 200 grams, 250 grams, but at the end of the day, the person making it is just going to make it with what they're making.
Yeah, like you just have to have faith that someone else is going to run the show and they're going to run it well.
Yeah, it is a bit of an overwhelming industry. Need to stop saying not gonna lie.
Okay, so to kind of, I think we've discussed a lot under the umbrella of staffing, from male to female ratio to attrition to the costs that come in with it. Like, can you sum it up for us?
So I can give you like a bit of a guideline for it. If you're entering into an industry like this, if it's not through passion, you need to have someone who is from the industry to work with. I think that really makes the process a lot easier. So if you have any passion or learning education, like if you have a formal education in hospitality, it makes it easier to run the show. Not like it's definitely a lot easier like that. For staffing, now there are lots of platforms available online where you can hire staff, off. There's Naukri.com, Monster.com. You can try and get in touch with a lot of HR agencies which are available in your local city. A lot of times the chefs or people who you've hired, who've worked, it's also important to have someone who you've hired from the industry, if you are not from the industry, who's been in the industry for 10 to 12 years. Having an experienced person work with you, because they have their own set of network of staff that they can bring.
And there's a large hierarchy of staff as well, I think, that comes in with your industry.
There's a lot of that. You can, I think initially when you start off, outsourcing it through a consultant and all helps you get the ball rolling. And over time, if you keep in touch with your existing teammates, your staff, be actively involved in where they're coming from. That helps increase your pool of network. And of course, if you're a brand,
have some skin in the game, then and somewhere to start.
Right. That helps. So I think the takeaway would be that since it's so service dependent, we need to have our backup plans ready for where we can source the team from, get them, having a good connect and a good network within the industry really helps to keep you comfortable and keep the show running at all times.
Okay, so another thing I think would be interesting to know is this industry passion driven, or is it an industry people get into for money? Like,
I think it starts with the false expectation of money.
And then you tell yourself, I'm passionate about this.
No, there are people who are really passionate, especially like a lot of chefs and all. They get into this industry because you love feeding people.
Passion,
I think Dad, he's not a chef, but he loves feeding people.
No, I think, see, this is just someone who's looking at it from the outside, not knowing. There's no research supporting what I'm saying, but I think to be part of the hospitality industry, you need to have a big heart, because it's so much giving. It's just constantly pleasing and giving, and I think you can't be in this industry unless you're okay with, taking care of.
That's exactly what it is. I think you've really done a good job.
You can't be stingy. You can't be like.
You have to let go.
You really have to let go
of a lot.
So I think that's something I think about the industry, and I think it's very interesting.
You think I'm a patient person?
I think you've gotten a little more patient.
BS, guys. If I'm in this industry for the last 8 years, I'm definitely patient because I wouldn't be a part of it.
You've gotten patient. But actually,
I've always been patient, I think. I just have a short fuse with yours.
Yeah, you have been patient. Like, I'm now just speaking solely seeing her work here, because I think when she moved back to Nasik to join my father with working at the hotel is the same year that I had moved back to prepare for NEET. So which was like a 2-year overlap, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And back then, like, since then till now, like, I think you're very patient with staff and the people you're working with. Like, you, of course, you get worked up when even with getting worked up when someone leaves. I think it's really changed a lot for you, but at the same time, like, it's something you've kind of been patient with on a work front.
Yeah, I think some of my major, like, things that I've heard, probably implemented as well. A lot of people have given me a lot of advice, obviously, because I'm like a little girl who wants to work and everyone loves to give advice. You're like, hey, let me tell you how it's done. BS.
Yeah.
Anyway, so some of the good stuff that I got away was, one of them was, don't react, respond. Because it's very possible that someone is just walking around and screws up something that they're supposed to do. This is supposed to be here, they put it there. There's a coffee cup that's chipped and it's being served to a guest. I mean, it's common sense, bro. Like, it's chipped. You can't serve that. You can't serve it in that cup to a guest.
Yeah.
So,
but it happens.
But it happens. And you can't help it. It's maybe somewhere, and I've learned that's one thing. So not to react, to respond, to be like, hey, instead of just lashing out and losing my shit, fix the situation and then we'll deep dive. Deep diving into issues that occur, which are the simplest issues, which have really helped me identify and nip the problem at the bud. Because a lot of times I see a repeated mistake happen again and again and again and again. That's because there's some process that's not been set. So I think that getting down, it's a very simple why analysis, which actually is the most basic and the most important. Why analysis. One more advice that I'd received was to read feedback forms. Like, that's my job as someone who's going to run the show. My job is to read feedback forms. That's it. And I think that is also really essential, because that's the immediate. So I need to incentivize the feedback forms being filled from my team.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. Then the feedback forms need to come to me. The complaints need to come to me to create a safe space for my team to not worry that I'm going to whip out a gun and hit them if they, if there's a very bad feedback.
And customers, like, I think customers can be difficult. Like, you're coming, you're paying, you want your way. Like, that's a lot of customers in any industry, but also big when it comes to this industry. So how do you take it? It's like someone holding a gun to your head till they say, like, okay, they like it or they don't. If someone comes to you, especially because it's a small property, you're here every day, feedback comes to you so fast. Like, there are people who probably pick up the phone and call you, today my pasta was okay.
Salty.
Yeah. So does that require patience? I'm sure, because you don't want to hear a random person.
Yeah. So I think one more advice that I use is one thing that I follow as a way of life since I'm in this industry is, like, everyone has different tastes. Okay, so I would like I have a very low tolerance for spice.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't. But the way I make stuff at the hotel is going to be medium spicy. My medium spicy, your medium spicy is different.
Yeah.
So you just have to make peace with the way you serve your stuff, your food.
Yeah.
The way you serve your food. It is going to, there are people who are not going to like it. The way we make our gulab jamun is going to, not gulab jamun, the way we make our rasmalai is going to be top for you. But I'll be like, yuck, this is not how I eat it.
Yeah.
Just have to make peace that it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And you have to like what you're serving. somewhere. Otherwise, you're just lost in a whirlwind of things. Yeah, it's an unending loop of like, who do I please? So you have to draw a bit of a line when it comes to that. Obviously, we provide modifications when someone's like, I need a little more spicy.
Yeah.
Can you do it? So we fix that and get it back. I need a little more salt in it. Yeah, we do it. But then,
angry customers.
Angry customers, bad customers, rude speaking, like people who speak really badly to my team. Those are a big no-no. Like I have sent people out. Like I'm like, I don't want to serve you. And I think that's also important to do it when you...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, send them home. Then... So if you're passionate about the industry, I'm sure it gives you more heart to be in it.
Yeah.
But if you're in it for the money, I think any business that you start, if you're focused primarily and only focus, money is not something that comes on day one anywhere. It's then you do a job.
Yeah.
Then you get a salary.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you get money in your first month.
Correct.
But when you're doing a business, no.
No.
My God, that's a great takeaway. It needs to be written.
What are the possible reasons for failure in this industry? Is it something you can just sit and say like, oh, this is this? Is it a book? Sorry. Is it a checklist? This, and you're going to fail. This, you're going to succeed.
Oh. I think
possible reasons for failure.
First, I'll speak about First, failure in any business is a slow process. You know,
it can't be slow. It should be slow.
It is a slow process when it happens over time and then it fails.
Okay.
I think in any business, it's important to be receptive to what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
I think one of the first and foremost things is to be available for your feedback from all ends, from like customers, your vendors, and your team. Correct. So that's generally what I think is my understanding of failure. Yeah. So if you're constantly in conversation.
Yeah.
The reasons for failure in our industry is, I'll give you the basic reasons why I think businesses have failed.
Yeah.
One is because it's so service dependent. You have a very bad, you can't find correct staff.
Is it easy to find for the customer to find you, or is it something you have to really work towards, like a customer finding you? Because when we speak about business and you're like, oh, business is not going to come knocking at your door, So how does it work for this industry? Because do you have to go out? Is there a lot of sales that happens?
So it's different. I think in this industry, there's a lot of locational advantages, disadvantages. There's a lot of timing advantages, the food, if you're too soon. In Nasik specifically, if we look at Nasik and we speak about Nasik trends that we have noticed for small cafes, restaurants doing well, not doing well.
Specialized.
Nasik is small, and I think the first 6 months are great for a place in Nasik that opens up. If it's locationally on like College Road or like the popular locations of the city, it's after the 6-month mark that it gets really difficult for it to sustain, because in the 6 months we have the capital also to infuse. The owner, the property, whoever wants to start it is also very optimistic. After that, a lot of times there is the conversation is there's a dip in the quality, there's a dip in the service. Which I don't think it's backed by any factual data. It's just how the city responds to people who start new. It takes a minimum of 3 to 4 years, 5 years for people to be aware of your brand through gradual organic marketing. Marketing for hospitality industry, since it's not a product-based thing, if you do a performance marketing, I'm not selling a pen or like an outfit.
You're
selling an experience.
None of that is like physical.
Yeah, it needs to be Instagrammable. The food needs to be displayed a certain way.
Since you're saying that, when you're talking about this industry and succeeding in the industry, like what does it take? Is it I'm serving good food, so I am bound to do well. I have a pretty place, so I'm bound to do well. Like, when you're talking about restaurants that have people queuing up and you're like, oh, there's waiting room. Why are people here? Why am I coming to SSK Cafe at 2 in the afternoon and it's packed? Like, is it because the food is good? Is it because the ambience? Is it because of what? What is that?
Are we discussing failures or discussing something else now?
We're discussing failures, but I think failures and success goes hand in hand, you know?
Yeah.
Something that doesn't work either has to be improved and that'll be the success of it, or yeah.
So I think what has happened, what has made maybe SSK, when we started for the cafe, I'll give you like live example. I don't know if it's the right way we're moving or any of that, but I think what we've done is when we started the cafe, I think 10 years ago, what we were serving, we've tried to keep it as consistent as possible. We've tried to, we've introduced something new every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's also important for us to remain in a, continuous process of growth in the industry. Because when you constantly add something new, it makes it attractive and exciting, and that's what any customer wants. If your place is so I think if I put it down as a list of things, one would be to have something new to offer.
Okay, so primary focus has to be...
No, not primary focus. Not primary and all, but these are certain factors that you can keep in mind, because not everyone can afford to do so much every time.
Definitely. So your food has to be...
Quality has to be top.
Okay.
You have to make sure that your quality and your sourcing is correct.
Okay.
Because even though we do the food and drug certification license, it's all a sham. In India especially, the supply, with the whole Zomato fake paneer thing that went down, it was really messed up. So the sourcing of our food, no one's checking.
Yeah.
And it's really tragic. So we need to work on that. There needs to be better regulations in that aspect. You need to make sure your quality of food remains unchanged. So we have made sure that some of the material that we get at SSK today is maintained. Like our paneer comes from the same vendor who's been with us for many years now. Our chicken is also coming from a vendor that is trusted and has been with us for so many years now. We try to make sure that we stick to something that will be higher than the market price today.
Yeah.
How another property would do it.
Source
but we know that the
quality
is sustained. And the easiest way to make sure your quality is sustained is to make sure that you
are eating as you go.
Just to make sure that you get it from a trustworthy vendor.
Correct.
You understand where your supply, how your supply chain works, like where it's coming from. That's really important.
Would you say the next is customer experience?
Customer experience.
Or that's lower?
No. Customer, I don't know if I'm giving it in that order.
Okay.
But customer experience definitely today across all industries is top. Today I can get a bloody sandwich with a click of a button in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So if I'm not pleased, I don't care. I'm going to forget about you.
Yeah.
So your customer experience needs to be on top of its game for everything. Even if you're a grocery store, or if you're a retail store that's doing
everyone wants to feel like
you're paid attention to. So
definitely.
I think so customer service is really essential as well. How your property looks and feels is really important. Cleanliness is also really important. A lot of times, us as women, we hate going to places where the toilets are disgusting and dirty. So I think that's the one thing we need to make sure needs to be checked and done at all times. But that's not for this. That customer experience ke bracket ke under it comes. Then adding something new to the menu here and there, having some that increases your customers' engagement. You'll come to have a cappuccino at SSK how often? Or like a paneer tikka sandwich, if you come to have at SSK, you'll come, but then if someone else is offering something new, you'll go there as well. But if I'm offering something new, you will try it with me.
Okay, so next thing I'm curious about is Swiggy and Zomato. Are they paying you to get on the app? Are they paying you to put you first? How does that work? Are you paying them? Do they actually bring you a lot of business? Does that eat into your margins? Is it good? Is it bad? What's the tea there?
So I think Swiggy Zomato is So Zomato came in first. I don't know if you all remember, we used to have Zomato ratings and feedback, and it originally began as a service that provided us gave us information about what restaurants do well in the city. They had these different categories like newly opened romantic spots, hidden gems, all of those things. That's what Zomato originally did, which was great for like businesses like us initially also, because it helped us be categorized, and maybe new customers, when Zomato became big enough, a lot of customers came on to check what's available. It helped when you're in a new city. It helped us discover new restaurants and cafes. So initially, of course, that was a different thing. Then they started with the deliveries, which Zomato delivery and Swiggy, that's when Swiggy came into the market as well with the delivery system. So I think the delivery system is actually, it makes you money, but it also takes a large fee.
Oh.
Yeah, so we, as a new entrant, you pay somewhere between 22% to 26% on the total bill. Plus, plus there's TDS deduction, as well as there is deductions, and you pay taxes as well. So the money you take home comes net off like 30%. The food cost in the hotel industry is roughly 30 to 33% in the restaurants.
You're not making any money.
Some offers that they run, people, if you don't do your research, you don't make money. So there's a lot of offers on Swiggy, Zomato, of which the restaurant owners, cafe owners, they do not make any money. But because they may have not gotten into the calculation of their how much they're making, how much they're not making, you end up not realizing. We realized it because we got into the nitty-gritty of it, and obviously we were calculating our food cost and everything, and we negotiate with them to get on a better rate. Then they take a fee for like different banner ads they run. So that's an entire business on their own. For a new entrant, it helps to have something like this. There's Swiggy dining, Zomato dining, 20% off, 30% off, 50% off. No, we do not make money on those at all. We pay out of our pocket, but if you consider it as your marketing cost, you can have a lot of first-time customers come into your place as a discovery of like, oh, you get a 40% off at SSK, let's try it out for lunch. So if I don't have a footfall for lunch, I can use it as a marketing cost and have people come in, but I do not make any money on it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it doesn't
That's
help.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's so exciting for a customer to look at when I'm opening my Swiggy or Zomato and I'm seeing all these offers. I'm like, oh wow. But never did I think that you're finished in the process.
Yeah, I mean, we don't make that much money at all in that. So unless so
what would you recommend, would you not recommend?
I think it's a very restaurant cafe driven thing. They need to identify their costs. They need to understand what percentage they can give a discount on. They need to cap all these discounts. They need to sit and calculate the cost. So if you are doing a total sale of 1,000 rupees at your cafe, suppose, or restaurant, you need to understand what percentage you take home. Because if you get down to the math of it, you don't take anything home, because there's XYZ costs to cover. You have your staff costs, food costs, production costs, all of those things that come in. So you don't really end up making any money, but you need to be aware of that. If you're not aware of the cost, then it's silly, like it's not
on the
useful.
losing end.
A lot of times for Zomato deliveries and everything, Zomato Swiggy deliveries, we do have a lot of cafes, restaurants, they do an inflated price. Because when you have a customer walk in and order, if I'm coming in with you for dinner, I'll order roti naan and like a main course. But if I know that because we are here, the opportunity for the staff to upsell something, like have a papad or have a drink while you're eating your food, so that's lost. Maybe tempt you into a dessert, which doesn't happen when you order online. So it's obviously always more profitable to have a customer walk in and eat. Of course, it helps that you don't have to get your cutlery washed, you don't have to involve your staff for delivering and all of those things. But all in all, I think net it's more profitable if you have a customer come in and order, for sure.
So if I had to have a takeaway from what you're saying regarding this, why am I laughing?
Because I said takeaway, putting takeaway everywhere. That's why I laugh. There's no takeaway, just be mindful. Okay,
so essentially,
what do you suggest, you can say? So what do you recommend for new entrants like
so
that?
from what I'm understanding is that
Let me drink my coffee, so talk till
yeah. So what I'm understanding is Swiggy, Zomato can be great platforms for you, but you need to be like mindful of your numbers and what your aim is with that platform.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very well put. I think you should conclude all my statements.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do now.
Yeah. Next, what do you want to ask?
Next, I want to ask you more about the customer. How has the customer changed in the last 10 years?
So customers were assholes, now they're bigger assholes. No, I love my customers. I think customers now just have so many platforms to bitch about you if you fuck up. So everyone's really
Aggressive
careful.
and pissed off. The customer.
We have to be really careful. Like, we need to make sure that we have that relationship with every customer for them to have faith in us that once we fuck up, it's not an all-time fuck up. Customer outlook has changed, evolved over the time. Like,
What do you mean?
Initially, like when we had customers coming in, they weren't aware. Like, there was nobody checking the Google reviews before entering a restaurant.
Yeah.
But now they do.
Yeah.
Now they check how well this place is, rated.
Correct.
Customer used to, same thing like I said, if you get a delivery in like 30 minutes, when the customer's sitting in the restaurant and it takes time, they're pissed off.
Yeah.
They're like, why is it taking so long?
Definitely, and I think even food, when it's getting delivered, if it gets cold or something, like
If
that
it's not
also
packaged
makes
well.
a difference. Because I know when I'm ordering something online and I get my food and I don't like it, I'm so upset because I've waited for like 40 minutes for this order to come, and then you're giving me bad cold food. But when no shit, it's gonna be cold.
So I think customer expectations have gone through the roof, and service has just gotten even more elaborate, personalized. So when it's not there, they're upset. There are many mediums for people to check how well a place does before actually going there. Instagram has changed the game. People see how food is served. If your presence online is not good enough, people don't care about you. If your food isn't Instagrammable, people don't care about you that much. They'll come for flavor and taste, but they want that Saturday story, like I ate this amazing dinner at wherever. It's become a prestigious way of, like I went, had food there. You want to put it off as something. So it's changed a lot. I think our parents didn't care. They cared about the quality of food they ate. Yeah. So the customer itself has changed a lot from the time we've been the customer only changing, but from our parents' time to like at least even 10 years ago.
Do you think customers are understanding?
Yes, there are so many kind customers who are really understanding, who get where like it can be a mishap, it can be, sometimes they're really generous. They let us fix their food 3-4 times if they want to. They want it a certain way. But silent customers are the deadliest. Like a fart.
Because I hear you and dad say, like, if we've gone somewhere to eat and it's been 40 minutes, food has not come or something is wrong or the staff gets nervous, y'all are very understanding because y'all know
where it comes from,
behind the scenes and where it comes from. So it's something I have grown up hearing, but for someone who's not part of the industry, it's just like, I've come here to be taken care of.
Yeah, people can be like that, but there's a lot of people, not even from non-hospitality backgrounds, that are just more empathetic towards the situation. When you see like the restaurant's peaking, people are running, the team is going from one end to the other, they realize that it's a tough night for the team, and it is. It is
really trying to make it happen.
It's possible because, like I said, the other challenge is like there is sometimes we're low on staff. One person falls sick, everyone falls sick. You're screwed. So there's so many operational glitches that happen that you're never prepared. You're never prepared for anything that comes your way.
Does the staff? This is on a different note altogether. I think let's just continue.
No, say no. Does the staff
stay with you or not?
When?
Like just in general. Do you provide like accommodation for the staff, or do they just like?
So it depends on the
because
property.
the hours are crazy.
So it all depends on the means and whatever you provide. So when you're hiring the staff, there are certain perks and things they get. So for us, we provide accommodation,
Okay.
and we provide them with all meals at the hotel. They're fed. They don't have to bring their tiffin, nothing. And we have a lot of events that keep happening, and you know, keep it up and running. If you follow our Instagram page, you see how much we keep doing all the time. So I think that's not, it's not for my team, it's for me, it's for my dad. We love it. It's an extended family that's been created. One more thing though, because the industry is so time consuming and so demanding, your team becomes your family. It is what it is.
I'm sure it must be because of the hours. Now, if I have to be here, spend all these hours with these people, like you must have to love being on the job.
Yeah, I mean, I think being a chef, being a front office or general manager for a hotel industry, if you think about it, there's absolutely zero incentive maybe.
Yeah, because I mean, it's Diwali. You can't sit at home because it's Diwali. There's going to be people coming, so you can't just take a holiday.
No.
So you must really have to give up on a lot of
personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the age that we're moving, where there's so much value given to the time you get, hospitality industry is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's no time you get. And if I'm voluntarily doing it, there's obviously some peaks to it. You know? There is, you know, like when you come in on a busy Sunday evening and the service is mental. By service, I mean like the whole team is on fire. Like there's the kitchen that's running, there's 5 orders coming at the same time, there's food going up there's people in the restaurant running around, and I kid you not, everyone's having a ball. Is the adrenaline that makes you want to stick around at that time, you know, that 90 minutes of peak is everything that we live for. And the smiles you get by the end of it, you know, how people are happy.
Yeah, definitely. I think the quickest way to get to someone's heart is
tummy. Yeah, so if you're giving like great food, people are just so happy. There's so many adorable stories in the last 10 years that I've heard of people meeting at the hotel, having their first coffee dates together, having their first kisses and lives and everything together, engaged here, living a happy married life, getting married here, having their naming ceremony for their child here. Like it's, you know, it's amazing.
So many firsts for people.
Yeah, and that when you get to see, I think that's also pretty magical. It's great, I think. Yeah.
Fun. Going back to, I know I went off topic slightly, but coming back to...
Did I complete the sentence of like what we provide, perks and all? So some properties provide accommodation, some properties don't. A lot of properties provide accommodation, pick up, drop as well for staff.
Okay.
It's pretty personalized. It's how much the customer, like we bear as
can take on as establishment.
Owner, yeah.
Fair. And now going back to customer and how the customer has changed since that's what we were discussing to begin with. What else has changed for the customer? I think we discussed 2 points. One was their expectations that have changed. One was empathy towards the owner and the business. And what else has changed about the customer?
I think that only that was it.
Okay.
Those are only 2 points.
Great. So, I think...
what are the pluses maybe?
Yeah.
I think we've discussed a lot of sad stuff.
Yeah, we've discussed
some great
a lot
stuff.
of negatives. But I think I'm sure there's a lot of positives in this industry because I mean, it's been 10 years to this. Dad has opened another hotel and is opening a third. So, I'm sure there must be something exciting about this.
It is glamorous, not going to lie.
So what are some of the positives?
I think some of the positives
incentivize me to move back to Nasik.
I think everyone finds their own businesses the most challenging. So if you ever speak to any business owner and they are just all praises about their business, something's fishy. Yes. So as a business owner, if you know through and through about your business, there's obviously a lot that it's just something that I'm aware of. Like, you know, I just know the dark side of it. I know how difficult, how consuming it is. But the reason I'm in it is because I understand it so well.
Yeah.
And that's...
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I understand it now. So I know when I can read my team. If I today when I joined like 8 years ago, and if I shouted at someone, I'd think twice before, what did I say? Did I say something incorrect? Is that person going to leave me? Now I know. Now I know how I approach everyone. I know how to deal with a certain department. I know how to deal with the other department. I know how nice to be with someone, and I know who works differently if I'm strict with them. I understand my vendors. I know how to maximize my credit period with my vendors. I know how to get my team to get on with my debtors, get the money in time for my functions, and sometimes you know. So those are things I figured out. So that makes the industry familiar, comfortable. Apart from that, I think the family you build, because you work with so many people, you see them in and out, and they see you, that relationship that forms, because a lot of the people in the industry are not locals. They leave their families behind, they come from all over the country, and because their sense of family is the people that they work with, which is us. What we can do as like somebody who has them in-house is to make sure that they feel at home. So for that we celebrate every festival with all heart. We celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Ganpati, we celebrate Christmas. We celebrate as much as we can with a lot of excitement, happiness, so that they don't feel like they're away from home. I mean, that's something we try, at least. I've not had anyone who's not missed us after leaving us. So I think
that's amazing. Because even when y'all do these celebrations, like, all the staff is there. Like, there's even staff that has probably left them but come back to celebrate with everyone. Like, I see people coming to meet people who are still working here, even if they've had to leave the country. Every time they come back to Nashik city. They visit. So I think
I don't know how that happens, honestly.
It's insane.
I don't know, but it is. Because I think what SSK we specialize in with staff is also, what I have seen is we do hire team like staff that is grown a lot with us. You know, I tell Dad this all the time. I think if we hire an idiot also, that idiot does well with SSK, because we provide the fertile ground for it to bloom. That's, you know, it's not a bad seed. It's the ground that's really fertile. Like, you grow, you do you. Like, you know, that's how it is, I think. And that's what that's what makes it fun and gets me a little bit of. That's why I find it very hard to stop working. But apart from that, it is great. You get free food. I watch an Instagram post and I send it to my chef and I'm like, I want to try this. Let's try this. And it's done. It's whipped up. And the team, I love my team. Truly, and I think they love me too, truly. And I think it's all really rewarding when you see smiles from your team, from people that come in, and it's extremely rewarding. So if you're working in manufacturing or making some parts of some equipment, you're sending it, who do you meet? You're not meeting the end consumer. Here you meet the end consumer and you get immediate feedback from that consumer. And it is got its own magic. It is great. And it's scary, but it's great also.
Like, discussing the positives, we've spoken about how, you know, there's so much grace and with your vendors, with your staff, and how there's community, there's a sense of family. But when you're looking at it from a business perspective, like, is there money also coming? Because we discussed a lot of costs. I just know bills. So what's the incoming?
So it's very cash. I mean, it's very, the money comes in from day one.
Okay.
So that's great for any business. You know,
it goes out also.
It does, but we're discussing positives.
Net, mota.
Mota paisa bach jata hai. So I think we start making money from day one. It's not like if I give an example of a manufacturer who makes, sell. But that period of getting their first money, it takes time. Builder, make.
Oh yeah, and it's every day money coming in.
So money comes in every single day.
Oh my God, that's very interesting. Any other industry you get into, even if it's service, like if you're providing on different days, a few times a month.
Even retail is like that.
Yeah.
Retail money comes in every single day.
Money comes in every day. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the industry is such, hospitality, people will not stop eating out.
Yeah.
It's food. It's not. It's always going to be in a list of things that they'll do. Education, food, and doctors. Don't go out of business. We've tapped into doctors and food, education. Maybe start a school.
Education. Yeah, probably.
But yeah, these are the few things that I think these are the positives. That's why I think it's attractive. That's why people come in, because there's a daily flow of income, and that's what makes it attractive.
Yeah, and for people working, I think something that is not discussed, but tips are very big in this industry also, right? Or
When
no?
you're in America, they are, because you don't have a choice. But even in our industry,
But even like, is it not?
tips are good. We get a lot of. We don't like.
It's an incentive for the staff, but is
because
that
if your
something?
salary is suppose 15K a month, sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
If your salary is 15K a month, you do make a net of 4,000 a month minimum with tips.
That's
like
good.
100, 200, 500, 20, 50. So all of that does help, and you do end up taking home some more money. I hope I've answered most of the questions about it.
Yeah, I think we touched on a lot of topics.
Yeah, please do tell us in comments if you have.
If there's anything else you want to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do a round two of hospitality?
No, that's not what's gonna happen.
If you have a lot of questions, then we'll do a round
I think
two.
there's a lot of grey area with the government policies in our industry. But I think if you want to know, then hit me up personally. Because like that, just be government bashing then. But yeah, these were just the basic touch points for the plus minuses and everything.
And everything else in the industry, and how it's all glamour, but
It's yummy, it's glamorous, it's relaxing, and it's fun.
So I think we've touched on a lot of topics, and
Yes.
we should use this opportunity to conclude our second episode of Sister Coded.
Thank you for
on
watching.
Hospitality.
Yes.
See you next week.
See you next week. Thank you so much for watching.